This year marks the 27th anniversary of the Super Smash Bros. Series. Yeah, you heard that right, 27 years. Forget being old enough to drive, Smash is old enough to rent a car, even though no Smash players have licenses. In fact, of the 86 playable fighters in Smash Ultimate, 33 of them, more than a third, originate from titles released after the original Smash 64. By the time the next entry comes around, it's entirely possible that over half of Smash's roster will be younger than Smash itself. Now, when you hear something like that, your first instinct is probably to think back on the good old days with the history of the series, but Smash is sort of unusual in that its first entry played an arguably pretty minuscule role in shaping the modern competitive scene. The facts are it has the smallest cast, the smallest stage list, only 12 characters, and only one competitively viable stage. But more than anything, I think 64 just struggles to stand out compared to everything that came after it. Melee is known as one of the most iconic fighting games ever, just hands down. Brawl nearly outsold it twofold, even though it was a terrible competitive game and introduced a massive wave of new players to competitive Smash. Ultimate has one of the biggest scenes of any fighting game by the numbers, and even Smaforsh is getting looked back on fondly these days. With all of these hugely impactful titles taking up the breathing room, it's understandable why 64 seems relatively forgotten. But it's also an unfortunate position for the series' debut game to be in. I'm sure no fans of the series wanted Smash 64 to be overlooked, but in order to turn things around, there probably needed to be some sort of showcase that highlighted 64's strengths in a unique and mass-appealing way. And seriously, what are the odds of something like that? Oh, okay. The Smash 64 Combo Contest is one of those rare competitive events that I think could be called unironically beautiful, except for those put your feet away, what are you doing? Held annually at Supernova, formerly Super Smash Con, the contest pits 5 to 7 of the best 64 players in the world against each other in a fairly straightforward sounding competition, who can step on stage and before a live audience and panel of judges, perform the coolest, hardest, and most hype combos in the first Smash game. But despite how simple that may sound, the Combo Contest is actually one of the most cutthroat competitions in all of Smash, participants endlessly escalating their entries year after year. And the result of all of that escalation is one of the most dynamic and fascinating examples of a metagame evolving anywhere in the genre. This year, 2026, marks the 10th anniversary of the contest, so to celebrate, I want to dive deep into its history to find out what makes Smash 64's Combo Contest so truly special. Thank you to Idle Obelisk Miner, who has paid to be mentioned in today's video. Idle Obelisk Miner is an incremental mobile game that starts with a pretty simple premise. You mine ore, smelt it into bars, upgrade, and take down obelisks to unlock the next thing. But as you keep playing, you'll find things like skill trees, auto battlers, and even pets you can level up. I think it's a game that respects your time while letting you enjoy the grind, and it's designed to be completely free to play with completely optional spending, which is a monetization model I actually really do appreciate, especially in the mobile game industry. I'm sure most people understand the pain that is downloading a mobile game and having an obnoxious ad pop up or 50 different bundle purchases immediately thrusted upon you, but Idle Obelisk Miner doesn't do any of that. It never runs ads, not even opt-in ones, and it never asks the player to spend money. Any and all in-app purchases are on a one-pager, and if you really enjoy your time with the game, you can naturally choose to support it later at your own discretion. The company is entirely focused on its players actually enjoying their game and experience, which I think is really rad and admirable. Like, radmirable, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, I'll say on record that I would love to keep working with this group, so if you're interested in the game and want to help me out a bit, you can check out the game for free on iOS and Android with my link in the description. Thanks again to Idle Obelisk Miner for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. So, the first and most obvious question on your mind is probably, why Smash 64? Why did a long-standing combo competition lasting over 10 years now emerge in the first game instead of in more popular titles like Melee or Ultimate? The answer to this comes down to one simple mechanic called hit stun. Whenever a character gets hit by a move, they're put into an inactionable state called hit stun. If that instance of hit stun lasts longer than the attacker's hit lag, that creates a window where your fighter can act and your opponent can't. If that window is long enough to land a second move, or a third move, or a fourth move, and so on and so forth, Bada bing, bada boom, you got a combo. Combos are integral to any fighting game, and Smash is no exception. So most moves are designed to cause more hit stun than they do hit lag. But in 64, perhaps on account of being the first game in the series, moves in this game inflict an enormous amount of hit stun. And I don't mean select moves on select characters, I mean almost all the moves across the entire cast are tools that can reliably combo into and even kill an opponent starting at nearly any percent. In later Smash games, having reliable combo routes or kill confirms on even portions of the cast is enough to buoy a character's viability. In 64, it's kind of the standard. The average on-hit game is so powerful, in fact, that for a time, tournament sets were played with 5 stocks, which is the most in Smash Bros. Series history. To put it simply, 64 has combos like no other Smash game. The things that are possible here just cannot be copied anywhere else in the series, which opens up an absurd degree of room for creativity and skill expression. Okay, so let's look at an example. This is the first completed combo at the first combo contest in 2016, performed by Dexter, one of the best 64 players from Mexico.
Oh man, I like where he's going with this. This is a lot of hits.
And like we said, 2 minutes to try and perfect the combo. So he may have made that mistake. Costly from a time standpoint, but let's see if he can right his wrongs. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Tilts here. Oh, I think he dropped it.
Beautiful.
For those not keeping track, that's 18 hits, 203% damage, and it is entirely inescapable when performed correctly. The judges scored it a 35. Which, hey, by the way, before we go further, let's cover how this actually works. The exact rules have shifted from year to year, but the typical format is this. 3 rounds, 5 to 7 participants, each player gets 2 minutes to execute their prepared combo, after which a panel of judges, usually a mix of 64 professionals and scene personalities, score it out of 50. After the second round, the top 2 advance to a one-on-one final. But here's the thing about that scoring. For the most part, it is entirely subjective. Completing your combo in the allotted time matters, and that's easier said than done. Executing these sequences live under the pressure of a performance spectacle is incredibly difficult. Nearly every multi-year competitor has failed to finish within the time limit at least once. Except the time limit isn't always static. Players who get close are often given extra tries, and sometimes that balloons to double, triple, and even quadruple the initial deadline. So, you know, it's vibes. And sometimes you just don't even need to technically complete the combo. If your execution is slightly too slow and the opponent has a theoretical escape window, but the sequence is impressive enough, the judges might rate you well anyway. Take Raz's round 1 combo at the 2022 contest, for example. He uses 2 controllers, each piloting a different DK, to play a solo game of tennis with Captain Falcon as the ball, finishing by cargo throwing the CPU up into a charged giant punch. If you watch the combo meter, it actually drops twice, so it technically isn't a combo. And neither the judges nor the audience seem to care because on both a creative and technical level, Raz's choreography is just too good for those flubs to matter. So the judging isn't necessarily rooted in an objective metric of technical difficulty or even strict combo completion. The most important factor is something almost entirely nebulous. Coolness. X Factor. Hype, aura, swag. Or for the purposes of this video, let's just call it showmanship. That very first contest in 2016 was a blast. It had tons of technically impressive and visually stylish combos, a nail-biter 78 to 86 score in the finals between Dexter and the eventual winner Prince, one of Japan's best 64 players, but something felt missing. A lot of the combos felt similar. Of the 15 performed, 6 of them used Captain Falcon, and 7 of them were on Hyrule Castle. Yes, I know I just walked into a 6-7 joke, but most of them involved ping-ponging the CPU between the wall and the 10. The combos are sick, don't get me wrong, but the competitors aren't really making the full use of the options available to them. There is one hint of what's to come in the future though. In Dexter's round 2 combo, to help stand out from the Cave of Life strings, he does this one little trick. Spawns a Bob-omb on the rightmost platform, lets it activate, and finishes by up-smashing the CPU into the explosive. Items are actually allowed in this contest, and though Dexter is the first player to take advantage of that fact, he'll be far from the last. In 2016, Dexter was the only player to use an item, a usage rate of just under 7%. But by the next year, 41% of the combos now included items. Brazilian player Court used a ray gun to carry Falcon across Mushroom Kingdom. Defending champion Prince juggled 2 fans to set up a perfect Samus charge shot, setting a new record high score of 49. But even with items reshaping the meta, the 2017 finals still close on 2 itemless combos. Things could clearly be pushed further. It wasn't until round 1 of 2018's combo contest that the next paradigm shift really crystallized. and you can tell the exact moment when it happens. Texan competitor Tacos is the second player to take the stage. Selecting DK on Hyrule Castle, he performs a long and technical combo on Captain Falcon. Looks pretty par for the course, right? Impressive, but largely standard fare for this level. That is, until after 13 hits and 164 damage, Tacos opens the menu, scrolls the game speed to 1/4, and jumps up to land the final giant punch, sending the CPU careening into the blast zone as both the judges and the audience erupt. It is, without exaggeration, one of the seminal moments in the history of this event, and the crazy thing is that even as it happens, everyone seems to recognize it. Immediately after, commentator Dark Horse says,
Remember guys, gimmicks score points.
Absolutely.
Put that thing in slow-mo.
It's all about showmanship.
Anyone familiar with this event has been eagerly anticipating this segment, so here it is. Prince is the GOAT of the Smash 64 combo contest. Of the 8 contests, Prince has won 4, more than anyone else, and 3 of the ones he didn't win, he simply didn't attend. He has the highest average score among all players to enter at least 3 contests by a margin of 5 points, and he's received 3 of the only 6 perfect 50s in the event's history. 2 of those perfect 50s came in 2018, by the way, so let's look at those because they highlight in different ways what sets Prince apart. First, his combination of creativity and technical skill. In round 1, Prince performs a combo that, by the commentator's own admission, had essentially never been seen before. He uses multiple bob-ombs to damage himself to 120, which sets up a situation where he can detonate a motion sensor bomb, cancel most of the explosion momentum on a corner, extend the combo on Falcon with a down air, and fly just far enough to close the stock with a nair into bear. This is a mind-boggling combo even now. Imagine seeing it in 2018. The game knowledge required to even conceive something like that and the skill to execute it live on stage is a huge part of why Prince won 4 championships. But what truly makes Prince such a dominant competitor is that on top of the technical and creative prowess he has a keen sense for how to structure his combos for maximum impact on an audience. His round 2 combo demonstrates this perfectly. Execution-wise, nothing about this is particularly difficult at this level, but every piece of it is carefully constructed to subvert expectations. First, he volleys Captain Falcon between 2 alternating red shells for 10 hits, establishing a clear pattern. Then, by jumping over the shell on hit 11 to transition into an air combo, he signals an end to that first segment. But then he dare spikes the Falcon back into the red shells for hits 12 and 13, and suddenly the sequence you thought you were watching takes an unexpected turn. He spawns a ray gun mid-combo, which is another freaking crazy surprise, then juggles Falcon to the right side of the stage with double jump cancel lasers, ending with a dash attack on hit 22, and then one final laser to close the stock. This might sound kinda silly laid out in detail like this, but watch enough of Prince's combos and you'll see these same tricks again and again, establishing patterns only to break them, introducing new elements out of nowhere, and reusing pieces of the performance you thought were exhausted. When it comes to the combo contest, Prince is both a scientist and an artist, and that's why it's been so hard to beat him. But that didn't stop the rest of the field from trying. From 2018 on, the scope and complexity of the combo contest entries continued to go up. By 2019, 87% of combos featured some kind of gimmick. And by 2025, that number finally hit 100%. Every single competitor was trying to do something beyond just hitting moves in a sequence. Combo Blaze performed strings blindfolded and used a fishing rod controller for a link combo. Tylo Ren did Fox combos one-handed. Tacos implemented camera zooms for cinematic effect. The contest had become a full-on arms race for swag, and in 2019, it broke. Almost every competitor that year bit off more than they could chew. In round 1, only 3 of 7 finished their combo. In round 2, only half landed their final hit, 2 out of 4. And among those who faltered was Prince, the until then undefeated champ, who failed to complete increasingly complex routines involving red shells, motion sensor bombs, star rods, and a Pikachu up B momentum interaction through Jigglypuff's Sing. It was honestly a little bit too much. The eventual winner was Japanese player Kiyoshiki, who completed his qualifying round combos in just 1 attempt each and closed out the event with the lowest average attempts in contest history. He won not by being the most ambitious, but by being the most reliable. And this actually points to a recurring tension in the contest. The finals themselves are often the weakest part of the event. The level of competition is so high that players tend to use their strongest material in the early rounds, leaving the finals to consist of backup strats or even improv. For 3 straight years, 1 or more finalists failed to complete their combo in the last round. The irony is that the closest final score ratio was all the way back in 2016 when the combos were simpler and the execution more reliable. The community bounced back post-quarantine though. 2022 saw a much stabler 86% completion rate, and Prince won that year's contest with one of his most complicated routines ever. But after he won that event, Prince never returned, and if you skipped the contest from 2023 and on because of that, I wouldn't really blame you. Competitors like Tacos, Combo Blaze, Jamie, and Raz continued to put on excellent performances, don't get me wrong, with Tacos winning in 2024 after 8 years of attendance, but it's just kind of hard to imagine anyone replacing Prince's exact brand of showmanship. Or at least it would be, if not for a series of events in 2023 that truly had to be seen to believe, and thousands didn't see it. Okay, this guy down here, that's Utah Smash 64 player Huntsman. He is not where he's supposed to be, so let's rewind for a second. Huntsman approached the contest with a unique specialty. Combos involving multiple characters, even performing some with 3 fighters for the first time in the event's history. He entered the 2023 contest under the radar, but quickly caught attention in round 1 with an 11-hit combo, fair spiking a CPU Fox into a chain of motion bomb explosions, then grabbing them out of the air and F-throwing them into the trajectory of a slow-mo, fully powered charge shot. Except, the throw missed. The space he passed just shy of the projectile, and as the stream cut to the judges' reactions, it captured the sight of Huntsman running down behind their table, eagerly joining them to watch as something beautiful was supposed to happen. This was the invisible combo. What happened is simply explained. The charge shot hit the Fox on the descending arc of the F-throw and still comboed. But the setup to this moment was just so masterfully executed that even the production team got caught off guard, and only the people immediately in the audience saw the grand finale. And Huntsman, seemingly aware that something like this might occur, was ready and waiting in the perfect position to witness it. He broke through a barrier that had previously constrained every contest entrant. Now it wasn't just about the showmanship of your combo, it was about the showmanship of you performing it. Huntsman essentially broke the contest's 4th wall. In 2025, Huntsman became the contest's 2nd ever multi-year champion, and he did it in especially dramatic fashion. In round 1, a carefully considered routine with fake book titles and a theatrical sock removal gave way to 7 minutes of Huntsman attempting one of the most difficult combos ever seen on the contest stage. 3 characters, 2 items, and the rising lava of planet Zebes. He didn't end up completing it and looked to be in danger of missing the finals entirely, but in round 2, he rallied. After just 3 tries, he did this.
I wanted to see 3v1. Bro. So what, he does a little pivot in there, there's an egg over here, the egg hits a down tilt by Falcon! Oh, a second Falcon kick! The charge shot! Is he gonna hit? It's Let's go with the pop off! Let's go, baby!
And then he went to the finals and did this.
I'm even surprised at first part combos. Like, I feel like that timing is tighter than we're perhaps explaining. Strong forward air. Gets the pivot back. Oh! Yeah! And he gets the charge shot! Let's go!
What? Okay. His signature multi-character combos and meticulous preparation paid off. Not just a first place finish, but back-to-back perfect 50s, a feat only ever achieved by one other competitor. Huntsman seemed to recognize the gravity of the occasion.
Prince, where you at, dude? Where you at? I need you to come here. I'm gonna win 4 of these, I promise you, and then you can finally come. Please come next year, we need you here. You're the combo king.
At its core, the combo contest is what happens when a game's players and its mechanics are in complete harmony. So much of competitive Smash involves tension between what the community wants the game to be and what it actually is. Discourse around stage lists, character bans, controllers, controller modifications, timeouts, whatever. Players love their game, but they're also continuously forced to compromise with it. The combo contest, by many metrics, is different. Here, the mandate is simple. Use and exploit every tool the game gives you, push and exceed every supposed boundary, and land some freaking awesome combos. Even though it's fundamentally a competition, it's kind of a talent show. Entrants are primarily in conflict with themselves, with their own ability, and a breakthrough for one player can be a breakthrough for the field. That's what keeps people coming back year after year. It creates narratives wholly unique within the scene, where performers display their talent in complete concordance with their medium. So, is a Prince vs. Huntsman showdown ever realistic? Prince hasn't been outside Japan since 2022, he hadn't even entered a notable 64 tournament as a competitor in 3 years. But pretty recently at Delta Seibugeki Open, he quietly came out of retirement to compete in a small Smash 64 side bracket. Is that a confirmation that the 10th anniversary could mark his return? No, probably not, but if there were any two players who could finally give the combo contest a final round worthy of its legacy, I think without a doubt it would be Prince and Huntsman. Thanks for watching. Big thank you to my top tier patrons and YouTube members. Check those links out if you feel like supporting the channel and you more importantly have the disposable income to do so. Big thank you to Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Brent Mukai, Carter Roberts, Dark Gen X, Eric is Cool, Gambill, Gustavo Cantu Fernandez, James Fabman, Justin Duncan Mills, Kyle Carlin, Marshall Bradley, Michael Talamo, Prakar Sinha, Rosewood, and Sam Wright.